Fit, active, healthy, happy, enjoying the prime of your life. Looking out for your health and wellness, this is Health Talk with Fred Lowry from Lowry Drug in Statesville. Visit Fred at his store, conveniently located on Hartness Road in Statesville.
Good afternoon. This is Fred Lowry, pharmacist and doctor of natural medicine, and this is Health Talk. This episode was pre-recorded for January the 23rd, 2026. We're here to explore the facets of your health and keep you up to date and informed on health issues. This program is intended to share knowledge and information based on my research and experience. It's not intended to offer individual advice, nor does it replace a one-on-one relationship with a qualified healthcare professional. Your daily choices are yours and have more to do with your health than anyone in the healthcare field. My hopes are that this show will empower you with knowledge to take a more proactive approach to your health. Some of my sources include, but are not limited to, various health feeds, including Epic Times, Mercola, Children's Health Defense, PubMed, and various Substack posts. The first thing I ran across, I thought it was interesting. It was talking about aging, and apparently the author of this is unknown. But I'm going to read this for you. It says, when I turned 67, I sat in my favorite chair and looked back at my life and whispered to myself, so is this the beginning of the final stretch? And slowly the truths that I had avoided all my life began to surface. Kids, they're busy writing their own stories. Health slips away faster than sand through your fingers. The government, just headlines, promises, and numbers that never change your daily reality. Aging doesn't hurt your body first, it hurts your illusions. So I sat down with myself and carved out a handful of bitter but necessary truths. Kids don't save you from loneliness. Children grow and pull in every direction, and then you become a memory they visit when time allows. You smile, and yet there's something inside of you that remains strangely hollow. Kids bring joy, but they're not a shield against loneliness. Not sure I really agree with that in terms of my personal experiences, because the way I look at things, if your children are out doing their own things and they're healthy and able to take care of themselves, then you did your job. Next item was health is not forever. One day, the outings that you once jumped into with enthusiasm feel like a marathon. You realize health was never a background character. It was the main pillar holding your life steady. Retirement money. Retirement is not a reward, it's a reality check. Interesting concept of retirement. We not to take away from those that have done well and are enjoying retirement at whatever level. But this is kind of an American tradition, I guess, if you will, that actually happens. But the reality check here is that depending on the system, it's like could be standing on thin ice. Bills grow, needs grow, prices grow, but support doesn't. So particularly in the realm of healthcare and those costs. So this individual says, I build my life on new rules, honest, sharp, practical rules for living with dignity. Rule number 1, money is the most reliable thing than anything else. Well, maybe. It says, love your kids, cherish them, but don't make them your retirement plan. Completely agree with that. Save for yourself. Even small savings create big freedom. Financial independence is dignity. Rule number 2, your health is your real job. I cannot emphasize that more. Nothing else matters if your body refuses to cooperate. Move, walk, stretch, take care of yourself, guard your sleep like treasure, eat cleaner, reduce the poison disguised as sugar. Illness does not discriminate, but it respects those who take responsibility for themselves. Rule number 3, create your own joy. Waiting for others to make you happy is the fastest way to heartbreak. So you learn to enjoy the small things, the peaceful breakfast, the good book, the music that warms the soul. When you know how to make yourself happy, loneliness loses its power. So I would go back to the thing about children, and it's your responsibility really to take care of yourself. Rule number 4, aging is not an excuse to become helpless. Some people turn aging into a performance of complaints, and slowly even those who love them start stepping away. Strength is attractive. Resilience is magnetic. People respect those who stay capable, not those who surrender. Rule number 5, let go of the past. Great advice. The good old days were beautiful, yes, but they're gone, and there's no return ticket. Clinging to the past stills the present. Life may look different, but it still holds moments worth living. Rule number 6, protect your peace like it's your property. Not every argument needs your voice. Not every insult needs your response. Not every relative deserves access to your emotions. Peace is expensive. Protect it from drama, negativity, and draining people, even if they're ones close to you. Rule number 7, keep learning something, anything. The day you stop learning is the day you start aging. A new recipe, a new word, a new app, a new hobby. Your brain needs movement, just like your body does. Keeping yourself young is important in this case. Stagnation makes you old. Strength and freedom still belong to you. Aging is an exam no one can take for you. You can adapt, rebuild, rise stronger, and sit back. You can sit back and complain and wait for somebody to rescue you. That's probably not going to happen. So no one comes to rescue you. No one stands up for you because you still can. And that single truth is enough to transform the rest of your life. Of course, that was a unknown author, but I think that's has a lot of wisdom to it. Epic Times had an article written by Sarah Halier talking about gratitude, and I think gratitude is an important part of this and being appreciative, whether you're aged or not. There are difficult times that people go through, losing a loved one through death or whatever a relationship is. There's that grief aspect. And the important thing, it's hard to have gratitude, I think, when you have loss. But after a while, I think that it becomes something that, if you're stuck in that, you have to make some changes. Gratitude actually changes your brain chemistry, the plasticity of that. We're going to talk more about that and later on chronic stress and things about more about energy and metabolism. Stay tuned for more health talk. Welcome back to Health Talk. Just talking about gratitude, this story from Epic Times starts out with a woman that lost her father, and out of desperation in her grief, she started writing down 3 things that she was grateful for each night. Seemed pointless at first, but eventually it started helping her to feel better. The gratitude, of course, doesn't necessarily erase grief, but it changes the way your mind processes it. So there's been a lot of research around this particular issue, emerging neuroscience has provided a clearer picture why gratitude has such a steadying effect of the mind. There was a decade-old study that found that feeling gratitude activates the brain's region responsible for managing emotions. 2017 study found that practicing gratitude, strengthening activity, helps the brain's reward system. Pardon me. A recent brain imaging study found that when people express gratitude, their brain shifts into patterns associated with bonding, empathy, indicating gratitude may support social connection at a biological level. So the effects of gratitude extends deeply into the body. Gratitude exercises weren't just helping participants feel better. They showed measurable drops in anxiety and depression, along with improvements in overall mental well-being. Basically, gratitude can rewire the brain's stress response. Gratitude doesn't really erase stressors, but it changes the way your body responds to them, reducing psychological stress and restoring perspective, and perhaps building resilience. Gratitude may, as they say, activate brain circuits of reward and connection. Every time a person practices gratitude, the brain becomes less stuck in survival mode and shifts into a more clear, calm thinking. Gratitude interrupts negative thinking loops that helps the brain transition from survival mode to problem solving. I think we've all have the potential to get stuck in those thinking loops. It's like an endless tape that just goes around and around in your head, particularly if you're mulling over something. And in my experience, one of the best ways to stop that is to voice it out loud. Some people use counseling for this, but you can process things by giving voice to them, which is basically talking to yourself. And saying the things that you're basically thinking and feeling, it does help you process them, and it interrupts that loop because individuals can stay in those states for quite some time, and that's a very negative place to come from. It's very counterproductive. It does create stress hormones, anything that is of concern. So I think it's a great exercise to voice the things that are bothering you, even if there's no one around. Gratitude interacts with the body's physical stress signals. Some studies have found that the brain learns to calm itself. As the brain does that, cortisol drops and helps with your automatic nervous system. Writing down things can be helpful, things that you're thankful for. There's all kinds of things that come up. Even the act of saying a blessing or a prayer of giving thanks for the food that you're about to eat is something that actually prepares your body to receive the food, improve digestion and absorption of nutrients. That was not in the article. That's my commentary on that. So feeling gratitude, one of the suggestions is to ground that in some sensory activities, like, for instance, the warmth of a mug if you're drinking tea or coffee. Little sensory details helps anchor the feelings. So basically that's being present. Brain changing gratitude practice is like any other wellness habit. Sometimes it takes a moment to actually give the energy to express that or write it down. But being able to take the time for a moment of reflection is a great wellness activity. And it's in today's busy world, I think that's pretty tough. Sometimes we put ourselves in the rush of the life that we're in, and I would say that life is probably not a race, and I've been guilty of that myself from time to time. So chronic stress, in many cases, I have created my own stress, and I think it's important to realize that there are things that we do create to that become a problem for us. So being able to recognize some of those things and maybe make changes in it. So chronic stress does contribute to depression. This was an article from McCullough about relative to progesterone. Progesterone is considered a bioidentical hormone. It's primarily used with women. It's an excellent hormone for people that are not making enough progesterone themselves. And I will say that men can also benefit from progesterone. It's just another hormone, more important for women, I would say, but it does it's in what we call the hormone cascade upstream that feeds other hormones. So chronic stress, we've all experienced that, has very deep-reaching implications. People feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained at some point. Maybe you have a growing sense that you're just sort of running on fumes. It may not be a sign of weakness, probably isn't, but it's biological signals that your circuitry is overloaded. And so what goes unnoticed is how the stress changes your brain chemistry. So just as gratitude can improve brain chemistry, the stressors certainly impact in a negative way a lot of things in terms of your brain. But it also can increase inflammation. It impacts energy production and overall emotional regulation. As the internal pressure rises, it disrupts sleep, memory, blunts your ability to rebound every day. And if left unaddressed, it gradually pulls you into a pattern that looks like clinical depression, and it may not be depression. It may be you just don't have the energy to do the things that you want to, and of course that becomes depressing. But the exhaustion, cognitive issues. Sometimes people, in order to protect themselves, have to withdraw socially. Progesterone is really a great hormone that has a positive impact on the body overall. And one of the things it does, it calms cortisol. It actually competes with cortisol, stress hormone, to calm the body and add more balance. So this underscores an important truth that biologically driven depression, like states, isn't necessarily fixed by antidepressants. So, when your stress hormone system, your adrenals are pushed to the limit, do you think an antidepressant is the answer to that? Because the more stress hormones that you use, like cortisol, the more you're depleting things like the progesterone, because the progesterone plays a role in that. So the research, some of the research is showing how in terms of how stress alters your brain, then progesterone helps rebalance that. Study published in Behavioral Brain Research investigated how chronic and unpredictable, mild stress even, affects brain and mood. This was an animal study, basically they observed animals that they put under chronic stress, which showed reduced motivation, impaired pleasure response, and dramatic drops in physical activity, showing that these changes are not necessarily in your head. Progesterone improved the behavior, restored motivation, so it helped balance out the stress response. So progesterone does more than ease the symptoms. It helps kind of address the root chemical imbalances driven by mood change. It also decreases inflammatory markers, another thing related to stress. Imagine that. Stress causes inflammation. Stay tuned for more Health Talk. This is Fred Lowry.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of fears.
Welcome back to Health Talk.
Now I want
I think that's everyone's favorite Jackson Browne song. Certainly is mine. Lowry Drug on Harkness Road in Statesville was established in 1959. We're a traditional pharmacy with a state-of-the-art compounding laboratory. We offer a full line of medical equipment and supplies, including CPAP, scooters, lift chairs, and oxygen. We have a full line of supplements, nutritionals, herbs, essential oils, homeopathics, and more. Talking about stress and how we deal with that and ways to take care of that. And this kind of ties into my previous two broadcasts, which you can go back on WSIC web and go to my section on there. There, you can look back and listen to the previous programs, which we were talking about things related to energy, and that you maybe have an appreciation for by now, that there's a lot of aspects to this, this overall balance of health. And before we get back into the concept of progesterone, you know, we do have a lot of things that can help restore balance. And sometimes when the tank's empty, things like progesterone can be used as an example, or other products. But the overall concept of wellness basically is to try to normalize the body terrain. So as you listen to me, you may get an appreciation for all the intricacies of the body and how there's so many moving parts. It's just almost mind-blowing, really, in terms of how the body works. So in my mind, the only real way to restore health is to restore the environment, the terrain, the internal environment, the external environment of what the individual's dealing with. And what that means is getting rid of the things that we've talked about, the ultra-processed foods, get rid of the junk food, eat better, hydrate well, get rid of the toxins in your water as much as you can, the foods. So stop putting the bad things in. Step one. There are a lot of things that you can do to improve detoxification, improve gut health. And the concept really is, once you improve the terrain, the body has the ability to heal itself. So we can't really micromanage a lot of these aspects, but we can create an environment that the body can heal and is conducive to healing and improvement. So going back to the progesterone, and I want to say one more thing about progesterone in terms of women's therapy. Is one of the most important hormones for women, and a lot of the health issues is related to low progesterone. Some people call it estrogen dominance. which is basically the same thing, but progesterone plays an important role. We go back to this concept of actually improving depression with progesterone. From that aspect, years ago, there was a doctor in Great Britain that I heard speak, was advocating progesterone for postpartum depression for women. As you may know, when a woman carries a baby, progesterone is quite elevated, and after birth, the progesterone drops off. And for some women are vulnerable to postpartum depression, using progesterone had been shown to be an excellent way to deal with that, and is simply substituting or supplementing with bioidentical progesterone. So it's just something to a sidelight there. Progesterone improves behavior, restores motivation. It has reduces inflammation in terms of improving mood, memory, and sleep. There was a study that measured biological changes where progesterone reversed inflammation and behavioral decline in a matter of weeks. It's a time frame that underscores how quickly your body responds when inflammatory pressure is removed. Shows that progesterone suppresses this molecular alarm system that increases the inflammatory cascade. So basically, it kind of turns off the ignition switch of the inflammation. There was a commentary, behavioral brain research study, bioenergetic researcher George Dinkoff explained that chronic stress, not a depression gene, drives the development of depression or depressive symptoms. Natural progesterone is a safe option for reversing stress-induced depression. So I think that's really important. So in the study, progesterone not only improved the mood, this was the animal study, it reversed animals' depressive behaviors and improved their ability to feel pleasure. I'm not sure how they measured that, but that's certainly an issue with individuals with depression. Many people have been told that progesterone worsens mood. That's only the non-bioidentical, the chemically changed progestins. So, there's a misconception and lack of understanding really about the difference between drugs in the same class, progestins, which is natural progesterone, and other drugs in that class, but they're chemically quite different in terms of that. So one of the things we talked about, it blocks the cortisol, but it also improves GABA pathways. GABA is the anti-anxiety pathways in some of the drugs that are anti-anxiety drugs. In the old days, diazepam, Valium, alprazolam, those impact those GABA pathways. There's a way to support that without using drugs. There's amino acids, we have a GABA-COM product that is probably a better choice, non-addictive, and it's something that you can stop taking without any kind of withdrawal. So these are important things. Progesterone actually reshapes how your brain processes emotion, and so this really has to do with a perception situation of how we perceive things, which perception is really important in terms of how we look at the world and make changes. Stay tuned for more Health Talk.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years.
Welcome back to Health Talk. This is Fred Lowry, pharmacist and doctor of natural medicine, talking about progesterone and perception. So this is a related study, how progesterone maybe reshapes how your brain processes emotions. Progesterone affects the female brain and how an individual experiences mood and emotional sensitivity and resilience. Moderate progesterone enhances emotional sensitivity while heightening levels that shift your brain towards a more calm and inhibited state. So basically, the progesterone influences parts of the brain that heightens emotional awareness and sensitivity to social clues, and it gives you an explanation why certain phases of the menstrual cycle you may feel more emotional. The signals actually seem a little louder, if you will. These experiences obviously it's a total body experience. Progesterone shapes memory and how you interpret emotional events. So it affects how memories are formed and the emotional coloring of these memories. So I think we all can associate memory. We remember things that are emotionally charged, certainly, and this gets into that perception thing. And basically all the experiences of our life and what we've heard shapes how we look at things, how we view things, how we perceive them. And so this emotional coloring, it actually, progesterone influences how you store and recall emotionally charged experiences. When progesterone is higher, your memory becomes more contextual and less detail focused, which shifts how you interpret conflict, stress, and interpersonal tension. So I think that's really interesting in that hormones definitely, and we can say the same thing is true for men in terms of testosterone. Those hormones impact how we remember things and how we interpret that. Healthy emotional regulation depends on how well progesterone receptors communicate with stress circuits. It says that the researchers described how progesterone receptors activate what they call a hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This is basically your hypothalamus in your brain and your pituitary, those that regulate hormones in your brain, and your adrenals, which is your stress system. They all work together, basically. Progesterone metabolites have calming effects through those GABA receptors that we mentioned earlier. So it's something to think about in terms of your overall resilience, your brain resilience, because having low amounts of hormones definitely impact your body, and that's one of the things that happens with hormone replacement. If you measure hormone values, whether it be through blood, saliva, or urine, then basically you're trying to fill the tank, if you will, provide what's missing in there. Now, there's also the concept of can you build your own hormones? Can you provide the building blocks? That would be something that maybe goes back to pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is the mother hormone that's made from what we call the bad cholesterol. LDL is certainly not bad, but so this is one aspect. Obviously, healthy eating, exercise is certainly helpful. Removing other stressors. So there are a lot of pieces to this in terms of chronic stress and how that plays a role. It's interesting also to me that cortisol plays a role in blood glucose, blood sugar. Big problem for Americans, really, in terms of diabetes and how we manage that. But the interesting thing is that sometimes mood disorders are actually metabolic diseases rooted in insulin resistance. Now think about that. You all the junk you've been eating and the sugar that takes its toll and all the seed oils in terms of how the body works functionally can impact mood. So it shouldn't be surprising really that the food you eat and how you live and the things you can consume, not just the outside stressors of the world, can impact your mood and the stability of that and play a role in depression. And this has been shown to impact individuals with bipolar disorder or regular depression. It's maybe thought about in terms of some type of genetic thing, but I can tell you that cortisol, stress hormone, the stress hormone that progesterone rebalances, actually lowers the threshold of neurotransmitters in the brain. So it's kind of like lowering the gate for increased activity. So you basically are kind of losing control of mechanisms that control how your brain works with neurotransmitters. At the same time, that cortisol impacts blood sugar levels and is a setup for issues around diabetes. And so insulin resistance basically is the inability of insulin to be able to act on cells. And you think about a cell as having a skin around it, if you will, and that's really the brains of how the cell works, because insulin has to impact that cell wall's ability to get glucose into the cell for energy. Glucose is what runs the metabolism, going back to the cellular energy. And so here we have the situation where insulin resistance not only impacts how your body works in terms of cellular function, getting nutrients in and waste out, how does that impact mood and depression overall? Well, it goes back to, the brain still uses energy. It has to have energy for glucose to get in, and insulin has an impact on that. So certainly elevated blood glucose impacts nerves, which is the peripheral neuropathy is the result of that. So every time you're drinking these sugary drinks is basically a metabolic poison. And fundamentally, for those of you that still drink soft drinks and or have sugary snacks and drinks, this takes a very long-term effect on your body that has a lot of negative impact, really. I mean, it affects everything. And so, the way out of that, of course, is drug therapies. Your cholesterol is going to get bad. You're going to end up on a statin. You'll end up on metformin. You might have peripheral neuropathy and low energy, and now you're on gabapentin for nerve pain. It really just goes on and on. So making better choices is really the way out of this. And as we have a quick snack so we can keep going, saves us time during the day, but it takes time away from your life and the quality of your life in the long run. So one of those things, next week we're actually going to get into this a little bit more in terms of diabetes and blood sugar, and hopefully it'll give you an understanding of how bad some of this sugar fix that you're getting, how bad is it for you? Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. This is Fred Lowry, Lowry Drug in Statesville.